So this will be recorded today, and we will, if you have any questions or discussions, we're going to try to save those till the end. That way, when we actually do the recording, we can delete that part off and just have the actual information. So if you have any questions, just jot them down as we go along, or you can type them in the chat, and I'll be watching that towards the end. We can answer any questions that may be on the chat as well. And if we don't have the answer, we can get back to you on those. But welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending our 2025 Family Engagement Academy. We have two special guest speakers with us today, Mr. Bradley Jordan, which is our lead counselor for Wayne County Schools, and then Kelly Barksdale, which is one of our Wayne County Schools mental health specialists. So I just want to thank them for being here with us today. They're going to be doing a presentation topic webinar on social media alerts, concerns, and information for the current information that's out there now. So just wanted to let you know about that information. And like I said, just type your name in the chat if you just logging in, and so we can make sure we get attendance, and it is being recorded. So let everyone know that don't get to attend today that they can log on to we have a Wayne County Schools YouTube channel, and there's lots of family engagement things on there already. So, and then today's event will also be there as well. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bradley Jordan, and thank you, Bradley, for being with us today.
Thanks, Tony. I appreciate you. Appreciate you inviting us, and I think I invited Kelly to help tag team with us. Kelly and I have been working together for 8 or 9 years now, and we do several things together, and always one that I just pick on, I guess, for to help me out
Bradley.
with these presentations. So thanks for Kelly to come. We've done a lot of things together, worked together for a lot of time. So just really quickly, I just some quick intros. I don't ever want anyone to think that this is something that I know everything about this topic, that I'm an expert in this area. This information is always changing and always doing things differently, different programs. So we try to update as much as we can and try to educate ourselves as much as possible. And so Kelly is going to offer maybe a different perspective than I do sometimes, and we're just going to kind of try to be as informal as possible. So please, I want this to be interactive, but please save all your questions kind of towards the end. If you want to ask questions in the chat, please feel free. Kelly will pick it up, or somebody will pick it up. Tony will pick it up, and we'll try to answer those questions at the end. If you would rather just chime in, please unmute, raise your hand, kind of question, then I'll stop and we can do those things. Because this is such a broad area, such a broad topic. There's so much information to cover that we really could be here all day and not cover the same material. So we'll try to focus in on some certain areas, some certain things, but honestly, we're really just scratching the surface. So if there's something that we aren't talking about or aren't covering in some information, please ask questions, because we may know something about it or may have some guidance or different things. But again, just can't cover everything. So please chime in with questions if you have them. Kind of to kick us off here a little bit, I wanted to share a YouTube video that I think would kind of kick us off. It's about a 2.5-minute video, so I'm going to try to share it and play that really quickly. Kelly, let me know if you can see it after I share my screen here, and we can share this video. Kelly, can you see that video?
I can.
Perfect. So, sorry, here in my office at Spring Valley, you're going to hear some bells and different things. So hopefully I'll stop it between that time and when the next bell rings. So here's just a quick video that I think will kick off of our presentation today. Can't hear it?
Yeah, Bradley, we're not hearing the sound on it.
Sorry, I don't know how quickly to make that happen. So we'll just skip that video. So I apologize for that. I thought I had it ready to go and I was going to be ahead of the game, but it just, I the question at the beginning of that video just says, parents, raise your hands if you've had concerns or questions about this. And he's holding up his cell phone. And I can hold that up here too. We all probably have one, and we may have our kids have one. I'm concerned about this topic because my own kids have one. I have a student in middle school and a student in elementary school. My daughter who's older has a cell phone already. So this is personally a big topic for me. And every time I present this information, this is a couple of times that I've presented now, I think to myself, I personally am not doing enough with my own kids.
Correct.
And so that is always a concern for me, that I'm not doing enough. So when I say that I'm not an expert on this, I still have a bunch of questions and a bunch of concerns about this and my kids using this. So that's kind of it kind of becomes overwhelming when I start thinking about this, when I start looking at it. It just becomes overwhelming. And so that's really where we are. So can you see my PowerPoint presentation, Kelly? Good.
Yes.
All right. So I didn't want to be just the talking head on the computer. So I wanted to give you a little bit of something to look at. And plus, this is also our notes. So internet, social media safety, it's ever changing. It's not something that we can print off and have ready to go and it just be something. By the time you print it off and hand it out, it's already obsolete. It's already, something's changed, something's different. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But this has been an important topic for us as student support team members, Kelly being one of the mental health counselors, our school counselors, CIS, social workers, all of those individuals that are help supporting our students have issues that start with social media or the internet or start with their phones. As young as elementary, this is not directed at teenagers or middle school kids or high school kids. This covers the whole grade level, because we're going to talk about iPads, we're going to talk about all internet things, access, YouTube. We're going to talk about all those things that all of our kids pre-K through 12th grade are dealing with, online issues and online social media, internet safety. And so that's what we're going to kind of cover. And like I said, this is such a broad term, we're not going to be able to hit it all. So if you have a question, please fill in. And I start with the first question. Where do you start? It's overwhelming. Sorry for those bells. Again, we'll probably hear another one here in just a second.
We can't really hear them out here.
All right, good. I can. It rattles my head. So social media is not a bad thing. I don't want it to think internet's not a bad thing. Obviously, our students are going to continue to see those things, continue to be a part of it. It's going to continue to grow. It's not a bad thing. One thing that I continually have to remind myself is they don't communicate with each other like we did. They don't phone. I remember growing up spending a couple hours on a phone call with friends or girlfriend or whatever, and I have the 50-foot cord so I could walk around the house and do those things. We weren't even cool enough to have a cordless phone when I was a kid. So they just communicate differently through their social media apps or through their online gaming, and there's all kinds of options, just how they communicate with their friends. It is just totally different. So please remind yourself. Sorry for the bell again. Just remind yourself that it's different, and they really are just communicating, and then this is how they're doing. So if you look at internet safety, and if you look at that picture and you look at all those different bubbles out to the side, I hope you can see them. Scammers, email, texting, marketing, TV, music. I don't have music on there, but we're going to talk about music and Spotify here in just a little bit. That I learned something new here in the last 2 or 3 months about Spotify that we kind of need to go over and highlight too. Phones, gaming, social media, all those things are on there. And one thing that might scare you and that we may not know a whole lot about, because it's becoming a more and more, I don't want to say popular topic, but a more well-known word is sextortion, which is the word at the top in the top bubble, where um, students sharing pictures online and then getting scammed and give me money. If not, I'm going to publicize this picture. And you can investigate that on your own time, because it gets to be a heavy topic. But that is one thing that that our kids are dealing with, that's kind of new and upcoming. It's been a problem for years, but it's just now really becoming known widespread publicly. So just the first bullet there is just to be informed. We need to know, parents who have kids that are online, on tablets, on their phones, on computers, whatever, we just need to know the basics and ask questions. Knowing the basics is important. Knowing what's going on. I barely know the basics. Um, and need to educate myself more. Again, when I'm talking about this, I always feel like I'm never up to date and I never have enough information. So knowing the basics and asking questions, just being informed about what the kids or your students are on. If it's a gaming app, if it's Xbox, PlayStation online gaming, and they have a headset on, who are they talking to? How are they doing that? Just knowing what's going on. Um, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this. If they have a social media app, so should you. We'll talk about that and parental controls and what you can do as a parent here shortly.
I
Knowing the
just want to
basics.
interject there,
Sure,
Bradley.
sure.
And we've talked a lot about this. Not only should you have those social media apps, if your kids have Snapchat, you should have Snapchat, but you should follow them. Not just be on there, but be one of their friends, be one of their followers, be able to interact and see who they're interacting with. And most of those apps, you not only do you have to be on there, you have to be following them, know who they're following, to be able to see all that.
And I'm already taking some notes here for later on in the presentation to kind of cover something about being on these apps with these students and knowing what they are. And maybe your student will have a parent app. This is what they show their parent, and then they have a backup account that the parent knows nothing about. So we'll talk about
Right.
that in a little bit. There's so many options for our kids to get online. It's unreal the amount of avenues they can get to connect with other people virtually, different things like that. Where are they going? Where are they spending time? Who are they talking to on those things? Those are kind of the questions and different things that we need to know about where our kids are going online, and what they are doing. And we're going to look at some apps here in a second, um, just some kind of very popular ones, and just knowing the basics of those things, where your kids are going, is really important. Platforms are ever changing. That's why you can't print things off and make hard copies, because it's always updating, always doing something different, always finding a workaround or things like that. Kelly? Oh, I'm sorry. You had your hand up. Okay, I got you. Um, so platforms are ever changing. That's why it can't be just a hard copy that hand out and say this is going to be the same thing next week. It changes that quick, changes daily. Your phone putting up a new update all the time messes up where your apps are, different things like that, and you got to figure out the new setup and different things like that. So it's just something that you got to keep up to date on. So there is a website that we use in Wayne County. I use specifically, and I'm not advocating for this. This is just where I go and get a lot of information. This is where I start. It's bark.us. Bark is a online watch group. They watch different apps. They have some different technology. They have teenage phones, first phones for kids, different things like that. By no means am I saying that go out and buy Bark products. That I'm not advocating for that or marketing them at all. I just respect the information that they put out. And so you look here, and I call it the Dirty Dozen. the apps and platforms and programs that our kids are getting on. And again, this list is so ever changing. And there's one on here that we'll talk about in a minute that's kind of been shut down on multiple occasions, but then is often brought up in a different manner and some minor changes. And, the platform is right back up when it was shut down last week. So if you look at it, and on top of the list, and I spoke about Spotify, which is a music app previously. Spotify's just download music, having albums, different things like that for kids to listen to. I mean, how many times do you see kids and with their headphones on or earbuds on and they're listening to music or listen to a video? One thing that I learned about Spotify here very recently is, we had some suspicion between kids communicating and how they were titling the albums of music that they were listening to. So they would title this, not albums, but I guess playlist.
Their playlist, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So the playlist would be titled and they could share that playlist. And however they titled that playlist, they were communicating in that manner. We had some suspicion that there was some threatening behavior and different things like that, but that was a smack in the face to me, who kind of tries to keep up with this information about Spotify just communicating in that simple manner. It's not a texting app. It's not an app that you really can write long things on it like some of these others, like Snapchat or something like that. It was a simple thing of titling the playlist, and they share it, and now they're communicating with each other.
And that's not something that a parent would check, right? Like we might be vigilant. We might be vigilant about checking apps, going through messages, really looking through our kids' phones. I am like that's my property. I'm going to look through it. But there are workarounds. Like just this week, I had students whose parents wouldn't let them communicate, but in their TikTok stories, they were putting little messages to each other. So they were finding ways to communicate that they didn't think, and they were right, that their parents would recognize. So there are always going to be those workarounds. Kids are always going to find them. And the more we talk about it, the more likely it is that we'll catch on to it quicker.
Definitely talking about it is important, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But just here on this slide here, you see a lot of the pictures of Snapchat and Instagram. Those are two really popular with students now. Snapchat being one in communicating, and they can think that the information goes away, and it tells you if it's been screenshotted or not and different things like that. But there are other apps out there that copy what's going on in Snapchat without telling the other person, and then that information is out there and it is actually not going away. And then they get it turned in, or they, whatever. Discord at the top is another one that we see quite frequently in our school system. Discord is started out as an online community of gamers where they talk about gaming and how to beat games and coding and different things. And then you leave into a private room, and then you can kind of do some different things within that platform. The key word in that private room, leaving the public realm of Discord and going into a private room. And so there's a lot of dangerous people on Discord, and that get you manipulated into a private room, and then things go south from there. So Discord is for gamers is a big thing that our kids communicate on, and it's fine, but just be aware of the extras that are on there. Roblox is a young game that kids play from a very early age, I think. But what can they do on Roblox? They can talk to people on Roblox, and sometimes you don't know who they're talking to. Locking down who they're talking to or their friends or different things is really important. But if it's wide open, it is people
can be a breeding ground.
Can be a breeding ground, and predators. There are nasty, evil people out there, and that's where they go. One that I noticed, one that hit home very much in my house was the Meta. the goggles, the VR goggles my kids got for Christmas. They connect to Wi-Fi. Guess what I heard on talking to other people and language being used and things being talked about that we don't do in our house, and I had to lock that down quite significantly. Never thought about it until it happened, and it happened pretty quickly. Good thing that we heard about it. TikTok, Telegram, Read It, all those other ones you can look at it. There's a couple on here on this list: Cash App, Gift Hub. Um, Online money. If something happens online and the kid gets paid for it or something like that, you may not see the Cash App online or the Gift Hub, and they're getting some compensation for what's going on online. And so just need to be aware of those, because we'll talk about some signs and symptoms here in a minute. But some of that comes from those gifting type applications, or Venmo, PayPal, any of those online money apps where money can be exchanged, and you may or may not see that. So just kind of being aware of those. Again, you can look these apps up. You can Google dangerous apps for teens, dangerous apps for elementary students, and it will come up a list. And then tomorrow you'll look again and it's a different list. There's one on here, Omegle. That's the one I was talking about that's been up and down, closed and taken off. It randomly, I think this is the one, I may be confusing
No,
my,
that's it.
is that the one that randomly connects you with just people we don't have any idea, and it's a video conferencing, right?
Hey, what are you interested in talking about? Here's somebody with similar interests. It could be a 12-year-old girl that you said you wanted to talk to, or it could be a 45-year-old man in Omaha. You just don't know.
So you got to be very careful on Omegle. I think right now it is down, not being used. But again, it's been up, down, up, down, up, down, and comes back in different forms quite frequently. That's a really scary one to me, because it randomly you pick what you're interested in and talking about, and then it randomly connects you with somebody else that obviously you don't know. And again, it could be a 45-year-old guy that wants to talk about unicorns, and you're 12 years old or 8 years old, and you want to talk about similar topics, and it connects you together, and then it just kind of really goes south from there. And then there's not a lot of filters, there's not a lot of protection for students on some of these websites, that being one of them. So just something to be aware of. We could connect, put all kinds of pictures, and there's good things about Snapchat, good thing about Instagram, good things about these platforms. Just the dangers that are also on these platforms. They're not always there's not always safe. One thing that these platforms do that I wanted to reference from the video at the beginning that didn't play for me was these platforms put things in place to keep bringing you back, and you spend longer and go deeper into these platforms and similar things. I know that I was on X, which was formerly Twitter, and I don't do a lot of social media. I just happened to do this for school several years ago, and I watched one street fight on this platform. And then I started noticing that everything that came up on this platform was street fights or somebody fighting and punching each other. And I was like, this kind of stresses me out. And I started paying attention to that. But this was several days, maybe longer into me just kind of scrolling on this platform and what I was seeing. And I was like, this stresses me out. And I was able to notice the problems that I was having based off of watching all these videos. The same thing happens to all these platforms. They get you connected, they get you hooked, and they keep you coming back. So just things to be aware of.
And that's how their algorithms are built, right? Like their whole business model is keeping you online as much as possible to see ads, to make you think that you want things without you knowing that they're making you think you want things. So the algorithms are crazy.
And so one thing that I was referencing that video again from the beginning, the one thing that I wanted to stress, or they talk about a little bit, is the um, mature brain. The brain developing. Your brain's not developed until 23, 25 years old, and so these mature topics, and I'll reference the street fights and things that suck kids in, I was able to recognize because I was older. A kid that is not necessarily apt or mature enough. They're dealing with mature material with immature minds, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful. It's just biology and facts that um, they suck them in. They're dealing with big topics, and it's hard for them to get out of when they don't recognize they're in deeper than they want to be. So just something to be aware of. Anything else, Kelly, before we move on? I know I've talked about this slide a lot.
No, I think we're good.
All right, so don't tell my kids they're involved in this PowerPoint and this presentation. Those pictures are a little bit older, but there's a reference there. So online material, again, online material, things that we're sharing is great. Students, families, we've got to be careful on what we put online. We know that we shouldn't put our phone numbers, we shouldn't put our addresses, we shouldn't put our our
Plans.
schedules on there. We're
Right.
going to be out of town. We're going on vacation next week. We'll be back, dates. And so we know that. And I put these pictures up there because people post these type of pictures all the time. They post, they want to post pictures, and they should post pictures of your kids. I love to see sometimes pictures of my sister's kids or my friends' kids or whatever, just to smile or whatever. But think about it and chime in if you want to unmute. What's wrong with these pictures of my two kids?
The private information
So
that's
you know
available.
that my kids somehow are connected to Cerrito Canova. And if you look in my daughter's picture, the soccer picture, there's probably some contact information. Well, there is. I'm looking at it. You have the area code. So if you've never heard of Cerrito Canova, but you look at the area code in the background, now I know that area code it's in West Virginia. Now I know where their kids are. I was going to post another one on here, but I didn't want Kelly to know my home address. But I took a picture of my kid in his baseball uniform this year for Little League. This is his first year in Little League. And I took a picture of him on the front porch. And I asked Kelly, I said, what's on the front? What's wrong with this picture? And she's, well, the advertisement of who sponsors our team. You could figure out where they are located. But even deeper, in the background of my picture, like a lot of people, I have my house number and my street name. And I don't want Kelly to know where I live, so I had to be very careful on doing that. And I mean that very jokingly. But we don't think about posting that picture and being excited for our kid being the first year of Little League Baseball. And we post that picture.
Right.
And in the background is our home address. Now they know Cerrito Canova. Now they know my street number or my house number and my street name. How quickly predators, people online, the evil people, the stuff that they're going online, this happens, how quickly they can piece together where you live. Then they have Google Street View, and then they have a picture of your house, and then they're sending, hey, I know where you live pictures, but they may be in Omaha, but they say, hey, I know where you live. And what's going on within your house. They can use that information to pressure your kid into sextortion, pressure your kid into exchanging money online that we don't see. They pressure the other person to do things that they would not normally do based on simple information that they can gather with a simple social media or internet search that really puts a lot of our pressure on our kids. And how quickly this happens, and I'm talking minutes. I'm talking minutes. These people, and I could share some stories. I could share some stories from Wayne County, from West Virginia, from other stories that I've connected. Um, not for scare tactics and not to scare you as a parent or a teacher or whatnot, but just to know that this stuff happens, that this happens locally. We think internet crimes happen in third world countries or internet happens. It happens right here in Wayne County. It happens right here in our backyards, and it's a scary situation. So, love my kids, love that but we've got to be aware of those things online. Anything to add, Kelly?
I think just bearing in mind that anything that you put out there is out there for anybody to see. Even if you think you have all the security measures in place, somebody could download your picture and post it to their site, and their site's not as locked down as yours is, or anything as innocent seeming as that could put you, your family, your children in harm's way. And so I think it's just good practice to be super careful about all the things that you put out for public consumption or put online, even if you think it's fairly private.
And the same for our students. What are they posting on Instagram? What are the pictures that they're posting on Instagram? Are they posting vacation pictures while you're still on vacation, or do they wait till they get home? Are they posting, just think about, pay attention to what your kids are posting. They're going to post, and I want them to post good things, but who are they posting to? Is it a public page? Is it a private page? And we'll talk about some things that we can set up in place here in just a minute. One of the things that we want to look at, okay, I have a student, he has social media. Are we struggling with social media? Are we struggling with internet access? Are we what do I need to do? So Kelly's going to look at this next slide a little bit, and we're kind of interject here a little bit about signs and symptoms of internet access and social media. So Kelly, I'll chime in on you now.
Okay, so what are we looking for? How do we know if an online or internet issue is really an issue? Isn't it an addiction, which seems like a strong word, but what we're really saying is this a dependency? Do our kids become dependent upon their devices, their contacts, their social media outlets, their games, whatever? What do we look for? What would tell us? What would be the indication that that's an issue? So, the first thing that we want to look at is how much time they're spending online or on their phones, because maybe they're not online all the time. They're chatting with their friend. They're just texting, or they're using it as an actual phone, which seems obsolete, but sometimes happens. Or just playing a game. How much time are they spending on that device in a day, and is it too much? What would indicate that? So we see some physical symptoms, if they're getting headaches, if their eyes are hurting, if they're getting stomach aches because they're like so anxious about what they're doing on their devices. Are they getting enough sleep? Are they so into what they're doing on their devices that they're not going to bed? Or if they go to bed, they wake up several times and check their phones, check their devices. So we're looking at those kinds of things to see if that's problematic in any way. Same as we would, for anything our kids are doing too much of. Um, do you see a sudden change in their behavior? Are they more anxious, more irritable? Have they stopped doing the things they used to like to do, going outside, going to hang out with their friends together? Is it all done online on their devices? Are they spending more time in their rooms, taking more walks out of the house to get away from prying eyes? Are they any change in their typical mood or demeanor? Um, are they keeping secrets? Are they suddenly more private? As kids get older, there's going to be an increased need for privacy and, um, you know, um, their own thing, but is it mostly about their device? Like, are they hiding their device as soon as you walk in the door? Are they antsy if you pick up their phone? Are they super protective of that device, and why? And then are they checking their texts? Are they checking their social media all the time, like they're looking for an answer to something? Or has it become sort of an obsession? Um, Anything like that would indicate that there's some sort of problem and would probably need some sort of intervention from you, the parent, or somebody at school, um, like us. Um, but if it's becoming an interruption, a disruption to your daily life, to their daily life, to the things that they enjoy, if they're no longer able to enjoy those things, then that's probably a problem. Um, the last one, do they have unexplained items, gifts, or money? That's kind of more of a nefarious thing. Like, what are they receiving these gifts for? What are they doing in exchange for these monies and gifts and things that they're getting from maybe people they know, maybe from strangers? But nothing comes for free, right? So where are these things coming from? What are they doing to kind of um earn them? Any of those things would indicate that there's some sort of problem there. And we need to be aware of those things.
One thing that really hits home a little bit with me about, and again, I don't know if it's the right word, but an addiction or a dependency on my phone, that I'm concerned about kids and teenagers and things like that hits home, is because I am. Because every week on Sunday, I am embarrassed to tell you the amount of time daily average that I spend on this device. And so that makes me look at how much time I spend on and what I'm doing. Am I gaming? Am I searching the internet? Am I on? And I do very little social media, if any. But am I on social media? What am I doing online? And if I see what kids and things do, every bit of downtime that they have, what are we doing? What am I doing? Every bit of downtime, what am I doing? I'm pulling my phone out of my pocket. I honestly carry it around my house. I carry it in my yard. I carry it wherever I go. It's never out of my pocket. And the first thing that I do, if I have a little bit of downtime, I take that out of my pocket and look. So it's kind of one of those things that we got to pay attention to our kids. How much are they spending? What are they spending their time on? Are they very protective of not letting you see it? Are they hiding it? Things like that. So just really those signs and symptoms are different for every kid. It's different for every student, different for yours compared to mine. It's different between my son and my daughter. It's completely different. So
Absolutely.
you've got to just know what's going on, know your kids, know the age, know, because Kelly's right, our kids, especially teenagers starting in middle school, are seeking that bit of independence. They're seeking some independence and they need that independence, and it's good for them to have independence. On the counseling side of things, that's things that they need, and that's where they are in life to be successful adults.
Right. Those are normal behaviors.
Those are normal behaviors. My daughter is 13 and spending more and more time in her bedroom by herself, and I hate it, but I try to limit that amount. But she needs that time in there by herself, just because that's part of the maturity process, the maturation process.
So
Um,
I think the key is knowing what's normal for your kid and then paying attention when there's a diversion from that. You know, which again in this age can be a day-to-day difference. um but you know, trust your gut. If you think something's up, there's probably something up, and pursue that.
where there's smoke, there's fire. Oh, parental controls. We want to look at that a little bit. Things that you can do. We talked about this. And I put underneath the top of it being proactive versus reactive. I think we would all rather be proactive and head something off rather than, oh, something's happened. Now, what do I do about it?
Well, and
Uh,
it's much easier to be proactive, to set those controls early on, and then maybe back off as your kids get older and can handle more responsibility for their own actions. But to have something occur and then try to react to it, it's real hard to rein that back in once you've allowed it.
the one thing that I wrote down on my notes that you don't see about proactive and reactive is and this is something that I've got to work on personally a lot. And it's, I don't want to live with my head in the sand and say something my kid would never, or it would never happen to my kid or my student, or that's never going to happen. And again, the sad thing is, if they're on the internet, the chances of that happening is pretty high. Being connecting with someone that you don't want them to be connected with, or they're seeing things that you don't want them to be seeing. I want to be proactive rather than reactive. Sadly, I need to even be more proactive in my personal life. I get that every time I present this information. So that's kind of what we're looking at here, is things that you can do to be proactive. Managing screen time from a very early age. Very easy for the screen to be the quote babysitter. How do I know? Happens in my own house. Things that entertains our kids so we can go do adult stuff, whether we have to clean the house, whether we have to clean the car, whatever, mow the grass, whatever that may be. The screen sometimes can be the babysitter. So this managing screen time is different for every family, different for every child. Some kids need it more, some kids need it less. Some people don't even see the screens at all. They see it at school or work all day. They go home, they don't even want to touch a screen at all. So it's different for everybody. And so that's, again, going back to knowing your family, your child, your situation, totally different. I can't say 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever. Set limits on your devices. There's ways that you can manage this screen time on any device. You can Google or YouTube any of these things that will walk you through step by step on how to set the screen limits for your students, what sites they can get on. I have a friend, and we've talked about this frequently. You can set this up day by day, Monday through Sunday. Monday through Friday, you can turn the phone off at 9 o'clock so they're not using it late at night. On Friday, Saturday night, you can extend that to whenever you want, let's say 11 o'clock or whatever, depending on your family. Shuts off at 11 o'clock and they can't access the internet. They can't they can call certain phone numbers. If they're at another person's house, a friend's house, whatever. There's all kinds of things that you can set up there on these devices, whether it's an Android device or whether it's a Apple device or whatever. But be clear about the expectations of your student using the social media. My daughter doesn't even ask to get social media because it's an absolute and firm no as a seventh grade student. So am I right or wrong in that? I don't know, but that's what works for us. Okay. And then one thing that storing the phones and charging their phones or their tablets or whatever in their room, in their bedroom, how quickly they could sneak and cover that device up under their blanket, and they're using it late into the night. Kelly, how many kids do we come every day to school and they're sleeping in class, and come to find out they've stayed up very late gaming, 3 o'clock in the morning, or on their phone, blah, 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 and
Right.
they can't function at school
I
because
was
they've
on
had 2, 3
FaceTime with my
hours of,
boyfriend all night. Yeah.
yeah,
Done.
happens all the time. So,
Yeah.
I would say that happens daily at every one of our schools, that they've
100%.
just gotten on their phone or gotten on their device too late into the night, got caught up. I'm going to spend 5 minutes watching TikTok, and 3 hours later, they're still on TikTok because TikTok algorithm grabbed them, kept them there longer than they want to be. They stayed longer than they wanted to be there. Parental controls on these devices. Again, YouTube, you can parental control all of these devices. It'll walk through you step by step. One of the biggest things that aggravates me is I can't remember my daughter's screen password a lot, but knowing their passwords to all their devices, very important. One thing that I learned here recently through another training and different things is keeping the Wi-Fi password secret, your house Wi-Fi password secret, not letting your kids know if friends are over that they access your Wi-Fi access. If they want access to the Wi-Fi, of course, your kids' devices probably stay there on the regular, but if somebody comes over, you type in the password for them. They don't know the password, but yet they have Wi-Fi access at your house. So just two simple things: knowing the password, screen password, passwords to all their social media, things like that. Monitoring gaming or monitoring content and gaming. Where are they going? What are they doing? Are they gaming with friends? Are they doing stuff with people that they don't know? How much time are they spending online? What devices are they using? This is absolutely huge, and this gets Kelly will back me up on this. Kids will have burner, quote, quote, burner phones. You have given them a phone, they will have another phone hidden in their room so they can do other nefarious things.
Good
That's
word.
for you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Nefarious things with that burner phone, whether it's communicate with somebody that you don't want to communicate, them communicating with, whether it's whatever it may be.
It's
Be
often
aware that
just,
say that again.
oh, I was going to say, it's often just like, I know I, as a parent, often take phones away as a consequence for, not doing chores, not behaving the way you're supposed, it's that's a consequence. You lose your phone. So having a burner phone comes in real handy then. And it doesn't have to be something that you purchased and thought went away. There are young people at every school, young entrepreneurs, making quite a good living, providing these older burner phones, and all they need is Wi-Fi, which is why you would keep that Wi-Fi password a secret. If they can't get to the Wi-Fi with their burner phone, then it's essentially a brick. It doesn't do anything for them. So that's one reason to keep that Wi-Fi password a secret.
So, these are kind of some things that we've run into in our daily jobs. So just, kind of think the fake apps. If there are two calculators on your kid's phone, there is no need to have two calculators on their phone. There are apps out there you can look up in any app store what they're hiding in the background of those apps, calculators, clocks, whatever.
Like a secret folder
It's a
for the
secret
apps.
folder, whether it's pictures, whether it's whatever. And these apps will function as a calculator, but if they put in a certain code or a certain something, then it opens up the folder and they can access more than what it sees on the screen at face value. So just being careful and paying attention. Why do you have two clocks? Why do you have two calculators? I don't know, whatever. And just know your kid, know what's on their phone. There's no need to have two of those things on their phone. And never stop learning. We've said two or three, 4 or 5 different times in this that this is ever changing. Things are updating, and I haven't even. There are apps out there right now that we haven't even talked about that I know kids are using, and they're just not that popular. Our students don't use Facebook. Facebook is for old people. No offense to anybody on here that does Facebook.
But they will tell you that. That's for
They will
communicating
tell
with
you that.
Nana and people. That's not for talking to their friends.
So, just never stop learning of what your kid is on, whatever. And the thing in my house that, again, I can't stress this is stuff that hits home with me. Modeling healthy digital habits. I said earlier, I'm always bored at pulling that pocket. Whenever I get bored, I pull that out and I'm doing something. Whenever a commercial, who deals with commercials on TV anymore, but when there's commercials on TV, what am I doing for that 2 minutes of commercials? I'm playing on my phone. I'm not talking with my kids. At dinner time, sometimes, or my wife, somebody will text me and my wife will get mad at us when we're having family dinner and I'm responding to the text message thinking that's important. And it is important, but also the family time together and modeling those digital habits are really important. So nobody likes a little self-criticism. Nobody likes to look at themselves in the mirror. Nobody wants to say, I be a little bit critical of themselves. But that's something when our kids are looking at what they're doing online and internet, we need to model that behavior. This is what we want. And again, on the flip side of that, there's a lot of times where kids will come to school and we're in session with individuals and and they will say my mom or whoever I live with, my dad, never off their phone. They're always on their phone. They never talk to me. We don't have a relationship, blah, blah, blah. And it's tough to hear that, but it's so true.
Have and another thing that we've implemented in my home is having those designated screen-free times, even if that's just dinner, even if it's, 10 minutes when we get home from school where everybody puts their things away and has a conversation. I think it's important to do those little check-ins, even if they're brief, because we all have things going on, right? We all kind of work 24/7, whatever we do, even, doing things at home, doing things for your job, that require us to kind of be online maybe more than we'd like to be, but to have those breaks, to knowingly and intentionally set those breaks for yourself, your family, whatever, and have those intimate face-to-face talks, moments, without those screens present is super, super important. And even more so as your kids get older, and do have that independence that they're seeking, to kind of have, we call it forced family fun time, and it's, not always fun, but it's important, um, because they're this time that we have with our kids is really brief, right? In the long run, it's a short period of time. And so making sure that you're checking in, that you know what's up with them, that they know what's up with you. Maybe you have a lot going on at work in your daily life that they don't know about and you're short with them. Those check-ins can alleviate a lot of that.
I want to share a story that made this proactive versus reactive really a big part of what I try to portray in this on this particular slide. I was at a conference and there was a gentleman there who was in the House of Representatives in the state of South Carolina, running for office, out on the campaign trail, comes home and passes this is later in the evening after dark, um, passes his older teenage son, and I'm not going to guess on his age right now, but I think 16 or 17 was his age, and passes his son in the hallway and how you doing, buddy, things like that, and goes on about the evening, goes to bed or does whatever, and then his son uh, it shoots himself in the bathroom, and it comes down to sextortion on the internet. And if you follow this Brandon Guffey out of South Carolina, he has been a champion to try to um, punish those that are doing this on the internet and on social media because of his own child, of his own son. So if you look up less than 3sc.org, it's some of the information. Just that gentleman, that father, that family really hit home because he would do anything else to be more proactive with these items because coming from a good home, coming from a political family or whatever, trying to make some good change for his state, and then this happens in his household. So being proactive is just really, really important because we don't ever want to be on the other side of things and having to be reactive and trying to cover up pictures that have been shared because our kid shared a picture they shouldn't be, or they're talking to a person that they shouldn't be, or they're sharing money, or they're getting money from a person that they shouldn't be. And if you don't send me money, I'm going to send out this picture. If they don't send them, whatever, we don't want our kids to go through that trauma because it's hard to recover. It's hard to recover from that. So just being proactive and doing that is really, really important. So kind of to close out here, I know talking on teams is really difficult in doing things, but uh, kind of closing out here, and then we'll do questions and answers. And Kara, you'll be my first one to ask the question. What is Wayne County doing to help our students? What is Wayne County Schools doing to help our students with this stuff? I know there's some legislation that passed in the state of West Virginia that it's a state law that they can't have phones within the classroom, and I think that's really important. But also, I think it's important that we have to teach our students and our kids proper phone etiquette or proper internet etiquette, and so it's always going to be a part of their life. So we can't act like that it's not there, that it's not going to be an issue. So this has been an important thing over the last couple of years for Wayne County students or Wayne County schools, and for our student support team that I was talking about earlier, trying to um, uh, educate our students and what the dangers are out there. We've had the state police, the Crimes Against Children's unit from the West Virginia State Police present to our staff, our students, and our families. We've done principals meetings. We've done all of our student support team, our counselors, our social workers, kind of just what they're seeing on a legal level. And we've also done a family engagement night. And I know there's some parent liaisons and different things that you have to do for school that Tony Dale requires you to do, or that's required to do for your schools. Those are good nights to bring in a lot of people, or could bring in a lot of people, because it's an interest. So I have some connections with the state police that if you're interested, we can get those in your schools, in your families, or whatever. And if you're looking for something different, maybe like at your church or a community event or community center, we can do that there. It's just such an important thing, and such a great topic that they present on. They see from they sadly they have too many stories to share, that just, if we can save one individual, one family, one student, it is very well worth it. The social media alert documents, again, these things are ever changing, so we try to put out some new updates throughout the year. Try not to do it very often so that it becomes a white noise. We try to do it quarterly. We try to do it once a month. Here lately, we've struggled to get some things out for other things that are going on in the county. So we try to keep the most up-to-date material out there for you. We send that through the schools. We try to post it on Facebooks if the school has Facebooks, send it home with students, things like that. If you're not seeing those things, send me an email and I will forward those to you. We can talk to the principals at the school, the counselors at the school. They have those documents. So just so that you know, we are talking with kids and students, whether it's on an individual basis, whether it's on a small group, or more wide ranging across the school as a whole, that we're trying to help our students be good, responsible internet, social media users on their phones. So Kelly, do you have anything to add to that, or kind of wrap up here a little bit before we start taking some questions and things like that?
Not really. I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover, but I'll be happy to answer questions if anybody has any.
Kara, do you want to jump in there? The reason why we're waiting to do this towards the end of the presentation is so that you guys can feel comfortable with speaking up and asking the question. We'll cut this off. We'll edit this part off so that it's not posted on the YouTube page. So I'll be very honest with you. There's no dumb questions. Please ask your questions, because I guarantee you have had the same question. Kara, go ahead.
Okay, the first question I have, I do workshops for internet safety, parental controls. So I just want to mention another website that we use. We used to teach our lessons for internet safety in the county with commonsensemedia.org. And they also have a parent section on there that you can go look at books, get little mini reviews on that. I'm not saying they're perfect, but they're a starting point for looking at what your child is reading, listening to, watching movies. They have it for apps, websites. So it's a really good all-in-one resource for parents. And again, it's commonsensemedia.org, and I'll put it in the chat. The other thing is, I was going to mention, and I couldn't raise my hand, I was taking a help desk call, when you were talking about parental controls. One of the things that you can do as a parent, to prevent the burner phones, to prevent friends from accessing, to prevent access to Wi-Fi at different times of the day or night, is to know how to log into your router, your personal home router, and it lets you manage devices that are allowed to access your router. It stops you from being able to, or certain devices from being able to share access with the little share function that pops up. It also allows you to set a time limit for devices, like between these hours and these hours, it is off. You can't, these devices can't access that. So that's one of the ways that that you can do that, but you have to work with your internet service provider to get your admin access to that. It'll be an IP address and a password to get in to monitor that. And it allows you to list only the devices you want connected. So, and you can create a guest account and turn it off or on from your device if you want to provide access to someone. So, and the other thing I wanted to say, I do trainings with, I haven't done one recently, but I've done several trainings with the West Virginia State Police Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. And one of they do the booklets. And as you said, some of those are outdated, but many of the apps you had listed are on their front page from the last event I attended with Sergeant James Kozik. And if you look at those, many of those are the same as the ones you mentioned. So they're repeat offenders and still dangerous and still accessible. But those are just the little tidbits I wanted to share with you. But I also wanted to ask permission to use parts of this in the workshops that I do for local communities. I do their internet safety and teach parents how to use phones and how to look for hidden apps. And I go through all of that with them too. So I was going to ask permission to use part of your presentation to share with parents as I'm doing those workshops.
Well, it will cost you $500 a slide. So
sorry
anything...
about that.
I'm put it on your tab, right?
Employee, so
yeah, no, I definitely, you can use that. I think it's important to get this information. I think it's such an important topic to get it out there to as many people as possible, because it's going to continue to be that. I did get a lot of information from the state police presentation that they do. It is a great presentation. We've had it. The last one that I attended, I believe, was at Wayne Middle School for the students at Wayne Middle School, and it was very effective. And to see the students, their eyes getting as big as dinner plates because they realize what's going on and what's out there and what people can see and what they can't see. It's really a great presentation. So, yes, all the things that Kara said are really important. So share it as many as possible. Tanya Bowen, I see your hand up with a question or a comment.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
I just wanted to piggyback off of what Kara shared about the commonsensemedia.org materials for parents whose students access activities at home through Clever, which is their single sign-on. So they may go into Clever if they're doing assignments in Freckle or in their Carnegie Math or Alex if they're a high school student. They also, for K-8, they have a tool called learning.com that's accessible to them at school or home through their Clever account. And it has a student independent adaptive pathway that students can follow where one activity leads to the next. And it pulls internet safety activities out of the Common Sense media materials and allows students to participate in games and activities that focus on internet safety, particularly for whatever grade level they are. So if they go into, again, if they go into their Clever account, and the majority of our students know how to use their Clever accounts, and they go into learning.com, that's the app, and that is paid for all K-8 students in West Virginia through a grant through the West Virginia Department of Education. And it partners with the Common Sense media materials, but it is just takes them straight to the activities for kids. So if parents are looking for something beneficial and useful for students to do at home that feels like a game, but actually benefits students, that's another way to do that.
That's awesome.
Common Sense Media is a great website. I do visit it frequently. Again, it's kind of hard to share all the information that is out there, both to support you and to help you. So thanks to Kara and Tanya about Common Sense Media, because that is a very great resource for you to access.
And it's free for parents. Bradley, there's a tab for parents on there. It's free for them to use. And also, when you mentioned attending one of those or several of the sessions, those the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force will also do parent and educator sessions, so that the students are not present, and they go through many things you can utilize to as warning signals and what you should be checking. Those are phenomenal as well.
Thanks, Bradley. Thanks, Kara.
So I just posted the link of the video into the chat that was supposed to be at the beginning. 2.5 minutes. Check it out if you're interested. Pretty good stuff. There's all kinds of YouTube videos out there on this, again, that can help you, walk you through on how to set up the parent controls on their parent controls on their phone or whatever, and it walks you through whether it's an iPhone or whether it's an Android or something else. Anybody else have a question? Chime in, send it in the chat. I'd love to answer anything. I don't know everything, but maybe I can fake it.
I second that. Anybody have any questions?
One of our partners with the Extended School Mental Health Grant Coordinator, Sean, was advertised that, I should have said this at the beginning, and I apologize for that. He was going to be on this program for us today and kind of help with that on the mental health side of things, but he got called away for a family issue today and just not able to attend. So I apologize for not saying that at the beginning. But that's the reason that it was advertised that he was that he was supposed to be here and then just not. He had a family emergency. So just so that everybody knows. I hope this was informative, Tony. I hope it was helpful. I know it was a little bit heavy on a lot of talking and different things, but if people would like to email and ask a question outside of this, please do so. My email is I'll just put my email in the chat.
Yeah, both of you could put your email in the chat. That'd be great. So if anyone has any questions, reach out. And I appreciate you guys. That was a wonderful presentation. Great. Stop and listen. At this time. Great information. So I appreciate all that you do. And yes, Bradley, so I'm glad you mentioned that about him, because I should have done that at the beginning as well. So I appreciate that you letting everyone know why he was not able to attend with us today. And like I said, if anyone has any questions, just please feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my email in case you don't have it. And these two speakers as well, Bradley and Kelly, to with any questions or concerns or things you may think of later. Again, it is being recorded, so it will be posted on the Wayne County YouTube page. It should be up next week. If you are part of this Teams call that we've been invited to, you will also have access to watch it and view it later on the Teams for this meeting. And so I just want to again thank everyone for participating and being here and being present today for the 2025 Wayne County Schools Family Engagement Academy. I want to thank our Title I department, our director, Mary Lou Perry, and our team members, Nikki Steffi, Angie Donahoe, for being able to help make this happen today. Again, Bradley and Kelly, thank you. And then Tanya and Kara, thank you for that information as well. So just hope that everyone has a great day. And if there's no questions, this will be the end of our academy. Thank you so much.
Mary Lou has one more question there, Tony. Just a second.
Yep.
Or at least her hand's up.
Let me check. Mary Lou, are you still with us? I think I can hear her because she's next door on the phone, so she's probably in a phone conversation. So we'll go ahead and end for today, but thank you guys. And just like I said, you can still chat and leave anything in the chat for us so we can get with you. Hold on one second. I think she's coming for this.
Very often. I wasn't on a phone conversation. It just, for whatever reason, I have my door closed so we don't hear each other. I'm like, no, I really do have something to say.
I could hear you talking. I
You
wasn't
could-
sure.
Okay, so, well, I was unmuted. So anyway, I just want to say thanks to Tony for all the hard work. We know what he does here, and I appreciate him very much. And my allergies are horrible today. So Bradley, Jordan, you and Kelly, thank you. It was really informative. I sat in there and took notes and listened. So I hope that all the parents appreciated and enjoyed it. I'm sure that they did. I like the fact that he's recording it so that we can watch it again. I have been texting while we were talking to say, hey, if you're not on here, please listen to the recorded version of this because it's really beneficial. And although I don't have my own children, anyone who knows me knows I'm a very active aunt. And so I was thinking of my nieces and nephews as you were talking and thinking about the algorithm and on all the things that, because I'm guilty, just like I heard you, Bradley, we're all guilty because we live and die by this. This is it's their source of communication. So it was something to me to say, it's so easy to scroll for all of us. So it's a good eye opener, and we just need to set our phones down. Sometimes we know it's a valuable resource, but know when to use it, when to say, hey, it's enough. It's stressing me out. I've got
Absolutely.
I've got to put the phone down for a little while. So I hope that, I hope everyone's enjoyed it as much as I have. Thank you. Wonderful team. Thank you, Tony. Again, he's sitting over here. And we just appreciate you taking the time to present this and those who participated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, so if there's no further questions, we will go ahead and end this session. Everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.